and welcome to RAF Mildenhall, home to the US Air Force. Here you can find some of the most sophisticated planes and highly trained crews in the world. But back in the 30s, it was a very different scene. More of that in a moment. Coming up. It's nice. We're now back to Mildenhall, and in the early 30s they staged a unique event here, the Robertson Air Race, when 27 aircraft flew from here to Melbourne in Australia. Well, the night before, the crews spent in this very hangar here, and of course the next day thousands turned out to see them off. But the story began at Shuttleworth in Bedfordshire. Here's John Huntley.
Very few people, young or old, could mistake this aircraft behind me, the Spitfire, in Churchill's words, always associated with our finest hour. And an aircraft important not only because of the men who flew in them, but also for those who built and designed them. Here in the Shuttleworth collection at Old Warden lies the history of aviation, but it's not a museum in the usual sense of the word, because here the policy is that every aeroplane that possibly can fly does so. And that often means years of careful reconstruction in the workshops. Until 1925, there'd been no serious attempt to make an aeroplane that individuals could afford and fly. The Moth and its derivatives were by far the most popular aeroplanes for the greatest challenge of those years, the England to Australia record. In 1931, the record was broken by C.W.A. Scott in his Moth. He flew the distance in 9 days and 4 hours. C.W.A. Scott, however, was to win far greater fame with this aircraft, the de Havilland Comet. 1934 was the centenary of the state of Victoria. It was decided that the best way to celebrate this event was with a great air race from Mildenhall in England to Melbourne, Australia. Arthur Hagg, chief designer at de Havilland's, supervised the building of 3 comets. As he said, only enthusiasm and patriotism got them through. Only weeks before the race was due to start, the comets underwent their first test flight.
I claim this bird in the house.
Our job is to get there first, and we think that we have the right type of machine for this particular race.
Mildenhall was the aerodrome chosen for the start of the race, but at this stage it was incomplete. The RAF was not due to move in until November, so temporary hangars had to be built and the runways completed in record time. There was so much work to be done that some people wondered if the race would ever take place.
From all points of the compass, the world's fastest planes gather at Mildenhall to check in for the Melbourne Air Race. Here comes Scott and Black in a DH Comet. Optimistic, Mr. Black?
We haven't done very many tests on it yet.
We might not be able to see them,